Howdy friends, my name's Carl. I'm joined again by Mike. Hiya Mike, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm good, man. Housekeeping today. I'm excited to tell you this in a second. But yeah, one, thank you very much for the recent subs on my channel. I appreciate it a lot. Obviously a lot of people in the Discord saw the post off Ethan. I was blown away by that. I don't really know what to say other than just thank you to everyone. And then following that, Mike, this was before that, but Ethan has said that he is going to come on the podcast and chat to us both at some point.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Yes, that's so exciting.
Yeah, we don't have an exact date because obviously they are busy sorting stuff out ready for the Kickstarter and getting alpha ready. But he has said at some point, yeah, he'll come on and we'll have a good chat and go through everything. So,
oh, nice. That's
so
real
yeah,
good.
Yeah, if you are a fan of the ranches, hit that sub button because yeah, we'll be getting some news going.
Yes.
And yeah,
that's
content
sick.
out all the time. So yeah.
Oh, that is proper exciting. Well,
yeah, I've been wanting to tell you that for ages, but I thought it best saving it for now.
Yeah, drop that bombshell.
Right, so let's get on with it. So this is the deep dive of the devlog. So we've both done videos sort of discussing it was just two short videos from us both sort of discussing what was released, our excitement for it, because it was well exciting and exactly what I think a devlog should be. It's just not major announcements, except for sort of like the Steam Deck support, which I didn't expect to see this early on.
A1, that's really good.
Some really good sort of like, this is the kind of stuff you can expect from a devlog, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and it was, like you say, not everything was a smashing headline, but it was all worthy, meaningful content, weren't it? So it was actually interesting. I know you said short videos. Mine wasn't as short of yours because I have a tendency to just talk. But that just highlights how much was in it. I think mine was like half an hour of me just
going, was it?
And then this, and then this, and then this is happening. I was just like,
I thought it was about 8 minutes of it, but yeah, it must have been a different video I've watched.
Yeah, I wish. I can't help myself, man. When the game is so exciting, I'm just like, ah.
Yeah. Well, here you go. This is where we can actually do that. So these are sort of like this is our platform to sort of get into it a bit more than what I do in my shorter videos. So where do you want to start? So if you have not seen the developer update, there was a whole load of new videos sort of showcasing their new systemic engine, which, yeah, I've briefly said all this in my video, but yeah, the systemic engine, if you think of Zelda Breath of the Wild, of how objects interact with the physics within the game, sort of like, elements like electric. Yeah. What are the elements, Mike? Because I'm drawing a blank. Air, fire, water, earth, in it.
Yay!
Thank God. Electric. That's
electric. Name other types of Pokemon. Fairy, dark, ground. Yeah. No, yeah, they do. And it's a really cool engine. Like that's such a
massive and
game-changing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my big sort of like, this is great. This is sort of like something really new in the farming sim sort of genre that we haven't seen. Because you have got sort of cooking and all that sort of like crafting within farming sims, but you don't really have that system in place where you have the freedom. So if you think of like, right, can I freeze that puddle that's on the ground? From what I'm gathering, it's not been confirmed, but from what I took from that systemic engine is that if you did figure out a way to freeze the water, you could freeze it.
You could. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm well excited for that. And I'll get some sort of footage of the stuff going on here. I guess a good one to show for this is the charcoal, because they do showcase how this systemic engine works now. They chop down the tree, they get the wood, they burn the wood, they make the charcoal, which is in essence what the systemic engine is. You know what I mean? It's if you could do it in real life that way, it should work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's really cool because they do talk about in the dev blog as well, showing this. It's a nice sunny day when they do it, and they talk about how maybe if the weather's not as good, like if you've ever been camping or anything, or tried to start a barbecue or a fire in the rain. it's a lot harder. So
yeah, and I like
it's
how they're
really
just sort of placing the logs on the ground as well. You know what I mean? It's not like putting it down and now it's a camp. It doesn't instantly change into a campfire.
no.
Which I imagine you'll be able to make, and you'll be able to get that sort of set piece, good looking campfire or wood burning pit. But I like that you are just setting the logs on fire where they stand. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things in this video, and I like how long it takes these logs to burn. It's
Well,
not
that's
instant.
it. Because when I saw that, what in my head instantly went to is, I wonder if you could chuck a fish on there straight away,
I
like,
imagine so. Yeah.
and it start. I don't think in that time it would cook, but the idea that if you've not got, like you say, the rudimentary fire pit, and you can improvise, and that's the thing I took away from when you talked about the systemic engine, is there is a lot of improvisation and trying stuff. And then I thought to, when we're gonna play, if we join each other's ranches, just trying some really, just some wild stuff, like you say, freezing a puddle or something, freezing a block of water and seeing if we can
Yeah,
do,
it's like
just what we could do with it.
yeah, it's also a bit like when you're setting off this one where they set off the jerry cans because they also to showcase the systemic engine in the devlog they show a multiple of videos taking a simple task as chopping a tree down and doing it in a multiple of ways. So you've got a lot of freedom of how to just chop one tree. Here we go. He's about to blow it up and he's going to bring it down. So it's stuff like, you could have a bit of fun and you could be thinking like, how do we get into this cave if it was a destructible wall?
Yeah.
You could be like, right, well, let's get a load of logs and set one on fire and do the whole sort of like chain system of, chaining up to the door and, a timer burning system. And it's those sort of things that keep you playing a game like this a lot longer. It's why you see people playing Zelda Breath of the Wild still, because they're still finding ways to sort of play with that system and figure out new ways of doing things within the game.
Yeah. And physics as well, like you touched on there, is like, when they're placing the logs on the ground in that previous clip, as they're putting them down, they're falling on and then rolling off, and that they're not just kind of stacking, it's all a bit, and I like that. And I also do enjoy the one where they just shoot the trees down.
Yeah, should we get that? Yeah, let's
just absolute, just how else can we get a tree to go down? Well, you can just shoot it down.
And this was a way. This was like so that I'm going to title this sort of podcast sort of like what we loved and what we didn't, sort of like what we liked and what we didn't like from the devlog, because not everything is perfect, but I've got a preferences that with sort of like I don't expect it to be perfect at this point either. It's no criticism of the development of the game, but there are questions raised from it of like, well, if you can chop a tree down, like by shooting it with an AK, what is? And this was a question in the Discord from someone.
Yeah, I'm going to say this was
And I did speak to someone regarding this. It's like, what does sort of what stops this negating tools within the game? Like, why would I ever use my axe to chop down a tree when I could just send it flying into the distance like he did there with his gun? And I guess that is because they've said, and I'm hoping that because they've said that there are consequences within the game, but you know what I mean. So if you, and I'm hoping there is a system in place where if you just start open fire in a quiet forest, someone's going to turn up and be like, "Look, mate, you can't be chopping down the forest with trees or like shooting down the forest."
Yeah,
but I don't know, or you don't get as many resources from.
I imagine I get a feeling like it would be that kind of what you said there in the last part is your efficiency. I mean, I don't know how if ammo's expensive in the game, things like that.
Yeah.
Where the efficiency of using a log, it might be efficient using a log on a log, but using an axe on a log is going to yield you a better number of resources.
Yeah.
which would make sense because I'd like to think if I chop down a tree in real life, not that I've ever done that, but you've got a defined point, you're getting an accurate thing, and then you can chop the logs. Whereas if I shot the tree, the amount of usable pieces of wood would be
Yeah, you're
less.
getting splinters, aren't you? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
it's just shredding it.
yeah.
Yeah, and the same for
So
the rock.
yeah, that's yeah. I
It
just saw it and it did just. It's just I like the idea that you can.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of freedom of, well, yeah, you
Yeah.
can, but it's not necessarily,
It's not a good idea. Like
Yeah,
that
you can't do just a gun playthrough where you raise your livestock,
yeah.
shoot the meat, cook the meat with bullets, just
Yeah.
go mad. But yeah, no, it's good, and I'm looking forward to seeing the community side of this. Of like you do when you mentioned about Breath of the Wild, those like crazy videos where like people are using the physics and stuff to create
Yeah.
just
One of
good
my
stuff.
things
So
was I thought like water features. I'd really like a way of, getting some water feature and figuring it out where it's just like a self-sustaining. It doesn't need
a
electricity
closed loop
because you've
kind of
got it.
thing.
Yeah, you've got a
Yeah.
closed loop of water just coming down, then you could use that sort of irrigation for your crops. You know what I mean? There must be a way to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
No, that's a very good point actually. You find a source that's maybe higher up and make it so that terraform it so it comes, yeah,
it's
like a
how cool would
spring or
it be?
something.
Is before we move off on this, I've got too many ideas coming right now. One is I'd like to be able to change the reticle in this. That's another thing. I think it could just be a bit nicer. It looks like a bit of my first idea for the reticle of the weapon. You know what I mean? I'm not a massive fan of that sort of massive
Yeah.
red thing. But I've
Yeah.
never been a fan of massive reticles anyway. I'd rather have like just
Yeah.
a tiny dot. But that's a preference thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Up to them. Right. Let's go over to the snow because I'm coming back to you with the idea that just came into my head. Where is the snow bit? I've got it back. Right. So we know that Snowfall's fall is physical because you've got him there making trails within the snow and then it disappears over time. It looks like it takes a while because it doesn't instantly go. So I'm imagining rain is also physical in the point that it'll make puddles. Yeah. And how cool would it be if you could put gutters on your greenhouses that then instead of leading out into just an alleyway or like a drain, you could reverse it into a greenhouse that watered the crops. You know what I mean? So every time it rained, the water would go from the roof and then water your crops.
Well, you can, yeah. In the real world, we have those water butts, don't we? That you can,
that you collect water.
Then you can maybe fill it up from there and do it like that. That would be, yeah. And like you say, you're creating that resource because we've talked about the ecological impact and stuff as well, and something like that, and that kind of like you say with the rain being, you may have downfalls, like you're saying, or reservoirs, like just digging a reservoir or like a kind of a small well or something.
Yeah.
And I like when I saw this was my snow nuts. That's
snow nuts. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
snow nuts. Trademark. Thank you. You're welcome. But seeing this this blew me. I know it sounds daft. This blew me away more than the whole logs thing, which is definitely more universal. But the idea that it isn't just snows on the screen, so it's an illusion aesthetic of doing something. Yeah, it's actually you can see there's a tent there, like there's a tent in that corner, but it's covered in snow and it's quite
usually
well hidden.
It's not. And that's what I put in my video. Is like you can see that it's a physical object because it's dusted that tent with snow. But whether that's just a second tent a texture that comes in when winter hits, but I don't think it is. I don't think it would be. I don't think when you've got the systemic engine, why go to that effort of making a second asset when you could just make the physics work that it covers the asset in a layer of snow, So I do definitely think that it actually covers the tent in snow. I want to know if this is the beach area. It must be, right, because the beach is right there. This can't, and you've got palm trees. This can't be like what they call as the forestry area or the plains.
No,
that they've said.
No.
So I'm guessing, and this is the only ranch area we've seen so far. That I think, because none of these, like when they're showing maybe when they're showing the car.
I mean, it could just be that. Yeah, well, I don't know. It could just be worn path. I mean, it could be the edge of the forest. You're gonna have sand anywhere, but specifically, I don't know. That's what's exciting. This is cool as well.
This is cool, putting that cow in the thing. I like it. And there's a thing to note, like where you see them here, they get into the car there, and you can see that they're working on the animation because there's a bit of head popping. But when talking about it all, I don't think I've got. Oh no, I don't have the video here. But there's. Oh yeah, I do. It's on the chicken. Sorry. But when he goes onto the bike, there's no animation for him to get onto the bike. It just goes from getting on to on. And I think that hopefully this is all just early. Obviously, it's not even at its closed alpha yet. Like, watch that, bang.
Right, yeah. I didn't even notice that, to be honest.
So maybe you would. Maybe I'm being too picky, but it would be nice to see an animation for that stuff, because I do find those quick jolts jarring as a player. But maybe that's just me. I've got OCD with stuff like that. Just me.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
And I love that you get to see the price of gas in the background of this as well.
Yes, that'll be. I enjoyed. Go on.
No, I was just going to say it's going to be really cool to see how long fuel and stuff's last, because we know from the previous video of that's the snow nuts trademark, Mike. From that video, we know that you have to refuel at time to time. So
yeah, and that's it. And they've talked about further on in the dev, because that's the other thing they do mention, don't they? Is the vehicles in the game. And talking about how energy being a key thing. So obviously, on a bicycle, it drains your energy as your character, whereas obviously vehicles go through thermic engines, which obviously use fuel. But it's that's another side of it. Like you say, balancing electricity. Are there going to be electric vehicles in the game that we've not seen yet? Is there a way to convert engines into electric? Because obviously, if you can have maybe solar panels on your farm, get a reservoir bank, and that'll be cheaper than fuel. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to go quite that in depth, but that would be something pretty cool to experience. But the idea that you'd have energy is a thing.
Like it's not just a stamina bar, and there's also fuel involved. I don't know if hopefully it would be nice for him to have electric vehicles, and you could go sort of totally off grid and just run it off your solar panels from your ranch. I'm wondering how long the fuel management is. I wonder how far you can get off one tank as well. I'm really excited to see how money making works in the game, and like I said, how quick you can sort of get that fuel to refuel your vehicles. And do you have to think about it? Like, you know what I mean? Are you thinking, oh, I can't drive everywhere because it costs a bit too much money? I'd like a bit of pressure on.
Yeah, I think if it's an option when you start your ranch, so obviously there's going to be some people who just don't want that. They want to just be able to get in the vehicle or whatever, and it just be as is. But if there is like a more hardcore, more real life simulation, like your vehicle isn't, and like you say, it all impacts on your costs. So if you are raising cows, and taking them to markets, taking them to the vets, these are all costs that then impact on your overall profit. depending on. So that would be really cool. I'd love the idea that you have to think about it. I don't want it to be impacting. We're not talking like survival games where it's like we're on the last tank of fuel and we need to, just kind of just like, oh, that's another, like in real life. There's another 40 quid gone in the tank,
exactly,
and stuff.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see.
I wanted to quickly pause it on the screen because in the top left it shows that you've got the fuel icon, but you've also got a ring around the vehicle. So there's obviously vehicle damage there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this vehicle has took a bit of a hit at some point. Which is just another nice thing. We've said how we want to be able to repair our vehicles and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show that it is confirmed. We can see it there that will be a thing.
That's the thing about all of this, and I know we've said it in other podcasts, is just how crazily in depth everything is. Like, and it's just got everything you'd think of. Like that is just not necessary, but so welcome at the same time.
And I was looking in the Discord yesterday at the sort of, and if you are a fan of this game and you're not in the Discord, please join their Discord because you can get so much information out of they've got a channel there which is Ask the Devs, and people post questions and they answer them all the time. And there's someone, Ethan was talking about the genetics of the sort of like breeding of cows and cattle and animals, and it just sounds so in depth. Like he was just like, you know what I mean? If you get two good animals and you get them to breed, then you're probably going to get a decent animal, I know it's not as simple as that, but it sounded even more in depth than that from what I was reading.
Well, the examples he gave on that answer, because I remember reading it, was like they're going to be breeds that are better at producing milk, ones that are more breedable than others. Like, so I like the idea that, okay, you might have a prize cow that gives, does give a lot of offspring, but the chances of breeding them is do you know what I mean? Like,
it's harder.
The idea, what was it? I think he called it like genealogy or something. He gave it a term. I'm gonna have to quickly look at it now.
Just while we're watching this, I'm just So there's a direct showing of the car getting damaged whilst hitting that tree. You can see the damage going down there, and then the tree obviously falls because the tree is weaker than the car.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is maybe that, thinking back to the guns that we just said, is the guns probably need maintenance as well. So shooting down a tree is not only costing you ammo, maybe yields lower.
That'd be great. That you had to repair your weapons, get a bit of that snake oil out if we're talking Red Dead,
Yeah, well, that's it. And that's what ramming your tree into it it's not sustainable.
And that's what the icons remind me of. It's very much like that Red Dead sort of esque circles in the top left corner of your stamina bar, and it's cool. But go on, sorry, what was that quote regarding the genetics?
I'm just trying to find it. I think it ended up in the chat room, didn't it?
No, I'm sure it was in Ask Devs.
Was it?
Yeah.
Am I just being a blind bat?
I'm going to try and find it. Are you? How quick are we going to be able to find this? No idea.
No, but either way, and I think
either way, it's there.
And they said, I think a further question from it ended up being, well, is this going to be introduced into the plants? With this genealogy, and there isn't at this stage, but I think they were open to the idea that if that's something they could then implement to crops and stuff, they would. And like you were saying, going back to the whole Discord thing, that is why it's amazing, because you ask the question, you get an answer, and they're very receptive to stuff, and that's why these devlogs. I mean, I don't know what else we haven't touched on in the new characters. We got some introductions.
Yeah, so let's pull that up in a second, because for the time being, let's just look through because I've got these pictures ready, and I will pull up the characters in a second. But this is sort of the what was I going to say? I've lost the word. These are the vehicles and how much they sort of transport.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the bottom right is how many people you can carry and how many animals, if you can carry the animals in it. So yeah, it's quite
I like
exciting.
that you can take the chicken on your bike.
Yeah,
that's
very cool.
Chicken.
2 cows. Is that 2 cows and 4 chickens, or is it 4 chickens? I think it's just it's all,
two large animals or 4 small.
Yeah.
8 boxes. 4 people.
I am in the background right now. I am pulling in the character pictures that I made because it has the description of them as well. Oh my god, it's just gone massive.
Huge.
You're seeing behind the curtain right now, people. This is all the stuff that you're not supposed to see. Right. So yeah, there's the kamikaze. It's just a fun ride, the kamikaze, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just imagine it just being like if you need to just quickly nip down to a crop field, you've got to water your plants or whatever, or just I forgot something.
A quad bike. I want a quad bike as well.
Quad bike. I'd be very surprised if there isn't a quad bike.
Yeah.
And if there's not, there you go. Or a golf buggy. You know, like a little dune buggy thing. That would be quite cool.
And other things as well. Just for a bit of fun off the ranch.
Yeah.
You should make some BMX bikes and also put in like a dirt ramp track somewhere around in the ranches. You know what I mean? Get a bit of air because that'll be fun. 10 minutes. Go a step further. Light skateboarding game. Just somewhere in the world. Light skateboarding game.
I mean, the systemic engine would easily
allow
it. What would be cool is if you can terraform, so you could make your own ramps and you could just make your own
it in your ranch. Yeah.
Yeah. And then have it open for people to come and visit and do time trials and stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of applications that, just like running a fun evening of like maybe like a corn maze. Those just like little cool things like that would be really cool.
Definitely. So let's get to there's the Steam Deck announcement, which I cannot wait. It looks like that's actually taken off a Steam Deck as well. You know what I mean? It looks like it's already playing. It doesn't look like it's just imposed on a Steam Deck photo. You know what I mean?
What's interesting is if you look in the background, that's the ranchers as well.
Is it? Yeah, that's just the ranchers. Yeah.
It's Inception. You can get a Steam Deck in the ranchers.
Yeah, it's just the rancher. It's just a continuous loop.
Keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, that person at the table is actually looking at the Steam Deck on the table right now. You know what I mean? This is their perspective. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But no, that was a great announcement. And it's going to be optimized from day one as well. So it's
crazy,
not like
man.
We're going to chuck it on and we'll work it out. It's optimized for Steam Deck day one.
Yeah, just so fun because there is so many nights where I can't sit at my PC at the moment. Because, you know what I mean? I've got a family life as well. And we have to, so, yeah. I stream on a Wednesdays, play the game. I come off, carry on the game in bed. Just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. is like, come on, it's bedtime. You're like, yeah, no worries. Do you want a brew? Yeah, I love a brew. And then you come up, give her a brew.
Steam Deck in hand.
Steam Deck's here. How convenient.
The problem with that is that we need to get 2 on pre-order because she's definitely going to want this game. So
100%, yeah, 100%.
Definitely. So yeah, let's get to the characters. So there's 4 new characters. I mentioned in my video that these are 4 out of the 20 confirmed romanceable characters as well. So everyone here you can start a relationship with. But 3 of them that I can see will be NPCs that run shops. So yeah.
Yep.
I made this nice graphic for us so we can read it as well. So yeah, Alicia is not just any bachelorette in the world in the rancher's world. With a sturdy character, she has a good sense of how fashion can be a self-expression tool. She runs one of the very famous clothing boutiques in the rancher's country city centre. So I woke up thinking about this and it didn't click, but this is just alluding to how much customization will be in the game. That's what they're putting out there. That has a good sense of how fashion can be a self-expression tool. And I didn't pick up on that sort of sentence until this morning when I was thinking about it. And it's sort of saying, look, however you want to express yourself should be possible. It's not just going to be a couple of t-shirts and a couple of things. We know that people like to. What they're essentially saying is that they know that people like to express themselves online in these sort of open worlds and get a bit wild with clothing, and hopefully we should be able to. And I like the character's design.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, if they pull this off within game, like the characters look like this, it'll be crazy. But yeah, and then that's Alicia. What's the next one? Ivan. He's the passionate hunter.
Yeah.
He dreams to open up an armory shop. So yeah, funny that it says he dreams to open up. So I wonder if this is going to be a quest.
Yeah, or a future update.
Yeah.
Like could be. That'll be quite interesting. Yeah, I like how it's open ended there. He dreams to open, and
he's going to be
then he also does
guy.
want to start a family, so there's that as well.
He looks very cool. I like the leather jacket. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hazel's the one that stands out because she doesn't have. Each of them has something to do with like a shop or something, but Hazel is a foodies and travel influencer. And so I don't know what she'll be doing in there. Maybe she's like a local celebrity, so people like the NPCs get a bit crazy when she's around and chase her or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's like a celebrity type paparazzi. Will she have love for a booming? Will she have time for both love and a booming career? So maybe if she's a romanceable choice, maybe she's a bit hard to sway.
Could be potentially, yeah. I mean, being an influencer myself, I know how draining that is. I am, the famous local traveller and food influencer for our local area.
Do you have time for both love and a booming career, Mike?
I don't. It's really hard to balance. I'm constantly going out, whining and dining myself, and posting it on Instagram, as you well know.
Funny. Why do I look? I must say, why do I look so pink on my camera? I thought that I went to Greece for 2 weeks, but yeah, for some reason, it's picking me up. I look like that. You know that when thingy. Have you ever seen Charlie in the Chocolate Factory when she eats them fucking blueberries or whatever it is?
Yeah,
that's what I look. I look like I'm. As the podcast goes on, I might just start widening myself. I'll edit it in. Next one, right? Where is it? Next one. I'm having too much fun.
Next slide. Come on,
Bruno. You need a truck, a bike, or even a sports car. Bruno is your man. So yeah, he's gonna own the automobile shop, isn't he? Yeah. Runs with, and he owns and runs this with his brothers. I didn't pick up on that either. So, so we'll get to meet his brothers, and I wonder what they're like.
That'd be interesting. Now, we're talking about things we liked and disliked. I do have a dislike with
Is it going to be about him not wearing socks?
No. He's got socks on, I think.
Right.
Maybe. But if not, sort that out, mate. Come on, Bruno. You're better than
Put some socks on.
I was genuinely surprised to see there wasn't a chap with a cap on and some headphones.
Just go.
Called Carlos.
Yeah.
No, it's who knows? But yeah, no, it was interesting to kind of see the kind of, because we talked about the NPCs, but never really kind of were they just gonna, what were they gonna do? And it's nice to see, obviously, these four they've introduced all have an application of some sort as well as just being a character.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy that, and it's like you say, how they looks good, and that sounds a bit weird to say, but the characters
the character models look great. Yeah, they look great.
Good. If that makes, they don't just look like naff characters that are just kind of so that was interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how they play out in the games.
Yeah, the funny thing that I was thinking of then is like, if these are romanceable characters and they're NPCs that work in the shops. How will that play? You know what I mean? Like once you marry one of them, say, will they still be doing their own routine of leaving your ranch to go down to the shop and run the shop and like, because that'd be so cool because it'd feel like a living world more. You know what I mean? If your character goes to sleep and then all of a sudden you just see your partner or whatever walking down to start running their shop.
Yeah.
Just adds that level of depth, doesn't it? But
that would be pretty cool. Yeah, like you say, you could be up early tending to the crops, and then you see them getting in their car to drive into town, and like their path is basically rather than from wherever they were, their original home.
Yeah.
But that, really interesting. I'm interested to see how, if we're gonna get gameplay like playthroughs. Like people who do Stardew and stuff.
Yeah.
People play through where they're gonna try and romance certain characters for their playthrough.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we're gonna get kind of a similar vibe from there. It's like, right, like you say, the influencer, she's, Hazel's she's too busy, so like trying to get her in a playthrough might actually be more harder than Ivan or Bruno or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
really
I'm really
cool.
and it shouldn't be too long until we see playthrough now because like I've said, if you've not seen my latest video, Ethan put in the chat the other day, someone asked how long the alpha will last. And it's essentially forever. Like so if you back the game on Kickstarter and you get the closed alpha, you will then own the ranches and be able to play it from once the closed alpha starts forever. So you'll be able to there won't be a cut-off date. It'll go from you'll be able to play through closed alpha, then it'll go into closed beta through updates, then it'll come out into early access and then proper release, which is crazy. Which
that's insane.
In the stuff you didn't see, I was like, well, it's actually a real early access, but I didn't know how to word this correctly in a little chunk. But it's, you know what I mean? The idea of early access is you're getting access to a game early with its faults, and that, not that it's with its faults, but that there could be some hiccups because it is early access. But early access in the recent years has just become a sort of like, well, we're going to just reduce the game cost and we're just going to get it out quick. Where this is actually saying, look, it's early access. You're getting it whilst we're still developing it. There you go.
I think what's really important to put onto that is, yes, it's early access, but this is also a way for the community and people who will get the early access, the alpha into beta, whichever stage you get it at in the life cycle, is you can help form this game. We've already seen in Discord how receptive Ethan and the gang are about questions, going, that's great idea. They've never said, and if something isn't a good idea, they also say, we don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
But like, if you're playing the game, you come across something and go, I am loving this game, but wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
The fact that you can do that, you can help shape the game. And then imagine coming down when we come out of early access and it's into the wider audience's hands. And there is a thing that you brought up in the closed alpha saying, actually, this doesn't quite work, and they go away, they fix it or implement it. How cool would that be to just be like, how good,
if you saw someone,
but you've helped make the game infinitely better.
Yeah.
While supporting them at the same time, like everyone benefits from that. So, that's what I'm really excited for, is that application of, I'm gonna kickstart, back it, get into alpha, closed alpha, knowing that I'm not gonna have to as well. I know this sounds a bit selfish, but knowing that I don't have to go, right, the beta is only for 2 weeks, so I'm really gonna have to push like how much I play in that 2 weeks. The idea that I can just play it when I can play it, and that will allow me to give good feedback or bug reports, all that kind of stuff, the quality assurance stuff. Back in a helpful manner rather than playing it for 2 weeks because that's all we've got.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And rushing it. So that's when I didn't actually find out that news from Discord. I found it out through watching your video, and I was like,
yeah, yeah,
that's really cool.
Cheers. Yeah, because I saw it and I just thought people need to know about this right now.
Did definitely.
And yeah, and what you were saying about how cool would it be if we did an episode on that, which you'll find on this channel. So yeah, if you do want to know what our thoughts would be for the sort of ranches and how cool would it be if, have a look back. But yeah, let's sort of pull it together for this episode there, because I feel like we've gone over a lot in a nice little bit of time. You know what I
mean? That's how big that Devlog was.
Yeah, definitely. And there's going to be more news soon. Like I said, Kickstarter starts in a number of days, hopefully now. They've said July. We don't know exactly what day, but Kickstarter starting. Watch out on this channel.
Bold letters.
100%. Yeah, and this channel I will be posting something the moment it does to let everyone know. So, yeah. And like I said, at some point, we don't know when, but Ethan will be coming on the podcast. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this and you want all that good sort of information, in the inside scoop, hit the sub button. It makes me happy. It puts a smile on Mike's face. It keeps us going. Yeah,
I've not stopped smiling since that announcement on the Discord telling him to come in.
Yeah, that's it. Right. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here, Mike. Until next time, everyone, take care. Bye.